It's Monday night, it's 8:45pm, and this is another edition of the Cat's Whiskers podcast, live. Hello and welcome to the first of 3 live podcasts this week from the Cat's Whiskers. We'll be doing 3 podcasts a week for the foreseeable future. And joining me in our very first live podcast of the brand new season is Aaron Lord.
Hello.
And Tina Taylor.
Hiya.
We'll be looking back on Panthers Scottish Weekend and also Steelers' historic win in the Champions Hockey League, the rest of the Elite League news, and we'll be looking forward to our Ask TCW podcast, which comes up on Wednesday at the same time, 8:45pm. But first, some news from the Nottingham Panthers on Friday afternoon. And you may remember last Wednesday's podcast where we were talking about a question mark by Brian McGrattan in a tweet to the Panthers. Well, his signing was confirmed on Friday at midday. The 6'4", 35-year-old right wing will join the Nottingham Panthers. He's played 317 games in the NHL for Calgary, Ottawa, Nashville and Phoenix, as they were called then, and also 336 games in the AHL. He's amassed a total of 2,748 penalty minutes, including 551 in just one season in 2003-04 for Binghamton, where, of course, Guy Lepine was playing in the last couple of seasons. Now, I'm going to ask you guys this question. I'm going to ask you both. Do you think it's a bigger signing than when Cam Janssen was announced last season? Tina, I'll start with you.
Yes and no. I would say it's big. Well, I would say it's bigger because, we were reeling from the loss of Cam Janssen, so we needed somebody who, could enthuse the fan base again. But I don't necessarily think it's bigger because Cam Janssen's signing was kind of, I don't quite know how to put it properly. It was out of the blue, and it was a real sort of benchmark signing. So now that we've had that benchmark signing in Cam Janssen, I think McGrattan it's big because of the loss of Cam Janssen. But I think Janssen's signing this, sort of the beginning of last season is bigger. I think that was bigger myself.
Yeah, Aaron.
Yeah, I kind of get what Tina's saying there, because I think, like she says, Cam came kind of out of the blue and was the first sort of, it was the start of that, big ex-NHLer that's pretty, that's been in the NHL quite recently, coming over to these shores, and he had that much of an impact that, we've seen other teams go out and get that NHLer. So in that way, it's not as big, but when we signed Cam, we thought, we've got a real good, tough enforcer, and I think it's bigger because we've arguably gone out and got the toughest enforcer from the NHL in the past 10 years. So in that aspect, I think it is bigger, but I think Cam was the start of the NHLer coming over here. And in that respect, it's not as big, but it's still massive. I mean, come on, it's going to make a huge difference to our team, I think.
Okay. I mean, Tina, he's obviously got the reputation as an enforcer. However, his penalty minutes have been decreasing season on season over the, past 5 seasons. And last season he got 8+9 in the AHL, which is pretty respectable figures in the 58 games that he played. So do you think he will actually come here, play a bit of hockey as well as be the side's policeman, and actually get amongst the points?
I can see him getting amongst the points, yeah. He's got generally speaking, throughout his career, he's got a better points per game ratio than Janssen did. It's not to really sort of make the big comparison like that, but he knows how to put some points on the board. So yeah, I can definitely see him getting amongst the points, and it's possible that he could make more of an impact than Jansen in a different way.
Aaron, do you think he'll get points, or do you think he'll just be here to be the side's policeman?
No, I think he will get points. I think if you look at, I know it's hard to judge because they're two completely different leagues, obviously, but he got over double points per game average than Cam has. So in that aspect, you would hope that in this league he would be able to, fingers crossed, double what Cam did in that respect. But I think it also relies on what Corey and Rick have in mind for him, what that type of role is. Do they want him to get on the scoreboard, or do they want him to be that energy guy, that the policeman, as you say? But I would hope that we are looking to 15 to 20 points from him, to be honest, and I think it's capable.
Okay. I mean, I was talking to a few people in Sheffield yesterday, and they were basically coming up to me and were saying, "No, that's a hell of a signing that you've got there." And they were people who knew him, people who'd seen him play, have said, "Yeah, he's as hard as nails. His main job is an enforcer, but he can play the game as well." And I think we're seeing that with the players that are coming over. They get the chance to play hockey here. They get a chance to play some minutes, and not necessarily the role that they was playing in the NHL and AHL, which was just a fight. We all know that is being phased out of the NHL and AHL at the moment, and these guys need to earn a living, and it seems that they're finding their way to these shores, and they're also going to get the chance to play a bit of hockey, which they've probably not been able to do since junior. I mean, I don't know. Did either of you guys have a look at Elite Prospects and see his junior stats?
I've got his stats up here, so I haven't looked beforehand. But I mean, you can enlighten us.
Yeah, I mean, I think when he was in the OHL in his junior career, he was on 0.5 points per game, which is pretty good. So if he can sort of get back. It's clear that he scored points in his earlier career before he was probably given the role as an enforcer. If he can get back to them sort of averages, he's going to do very well in the Elite League, don't you think?
I think you make a really good point about the fact of, we all know that fighting over in America is dwindling down, like you said. And let's be honest, our league is, just way off the AHL, let alone the NHL. But if we wanted that goon, that pure fighter, then I'm pretty sure we could get somebody, far cheaper than what Brian McGrattan is potentially on. So I think we also are looking for these NHLers to bring points, as well as that enforcer mentality and skill. So I think, like you say, he's obviously been able to put up points at certain stages of his career, and I think he would love to maybe just come over here, like you say, and put some points up, instead of just going, "Oh my God, my role is going to be to enforce, and just fight." I think they are looking to play hockey, like you said.
And one final thing, and Tina, I'll direct this to you. Do you think that the Elite League is probably one of the toughest leagues, certainly in Europe, maybe the world this season, due to the number of enforcers that have come over?
It's not unreasonable. It's not an unreasonable statement. I think this is the year we've seen the most of your former enforcers coming over all at once. So yeah, I don't think I would necessarily disagree with that statement. There's probably some facts and figures you can crunch to put up the actual evidence for that. But yeah, it's certainly looking like a fairly tough league to be in.
Okay. Of course, if you would like to get in touch with us while we're recording the show, you can do. It's on Twitter, @CatsWhiskersTV. Use the hashtag TCW Live. What do you think of Brian McGrattan's signing? And anything that we talk about in tonight's show, you can get in touch with us using that Twitter handle. We're going to move on to Panthers over the weekend. 3 games in 3 nights in Scotland, starting on Friday, where the Panthers got a 3-1 victory against the Dundee Stars. David Clark with a brace in the first and second period before Jeff Dimon made it 3-0. Joey Sides replying just before the end of the second period to make it 3-1. No scoring in the third. On Saturday, the Panthers were in Braehead at the shopping centre. Scott Pitt opened the scoring for the Clan before Matt Carter on the power play, Dan Spang and Chris Lawrence also on the power play. With Linda Argan and an empty net marker with 1 second remaining, made it 4-1 for the Panthers. On Sunday, the 5 Flyers were the hosts, and it was a 4-1 victory for the home team. No scoring in the first. Chase Shaber opening the scoring at 33:08. Jeff Brown equalising for the Panthers before Matt Siska and Justin Fox made it 3-1. Ryan Dingle with the empty net marker at 59:35. Now, Aaron, I'll come to you first because I remember you thought we'd only get 2 points from this weekend. So I think I probably know the answer to this. Yeah, I believe you did. It says
5.
I thought you said 2.
Yeah, I thought he was Mr. Uber positive.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I apologise if I got that wrong. But somebody definitely said 2, and I know it wasn't me. So
it's got to be Andy. Andy, definitely.
Yeah. I'm sure, if Andy's listening, if you could let us know, that'd be good. So, Aaron, sorry, you said 5 points, so you're probably going to be disappointed. Is 4 points out of 6 a good return?
I think it's a good return. Yes. I think. The thing is, if you'd offered us 4 points before Friday, I think a lot of Panthers fans would have snapped your hands off and said, yes, we'll take them. I think it's disappointing that we didn't get anything from the final game because, we'd already got those 4 points in the bag. So it sort of ends on a bit of a down point, doesn't it, really? But I think 4 out of 6, the first Elite League weekend of the season, 3 in 3, travelling up to Scotland, everything that revolved around that weekend, I'm happy with 4 out of 6 personally, because I do think as well we played well in all 3 games. I don't think, even though the scoreline, if you look at Flyers 4, Panthers 1, I don't think we were, we weren't outclassed massively in that game at all in my eyes. A little bit of luck, a very good netminder for Flyers, and the game might have been a little bit different, but I'm happy with 4 out of 6.
Okay. And Tina, you happy with 4 points?
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. I'll take 4 points on a Scottish triple, definitely.
Do you think that's after the last Scottish triple, which I know we went out on about a lot last season and we mentioned in the last podcast, but we only got 2 points from the 6 last December. So do you think that sort of tempers the expectations a little bit?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, me and Aaron are painfully aware of that particular Scottish triple because we were there.
Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but we did get to see an awesome bit of celebration from Dan Green on his penalty shot victory. That bless
Very
him.
True.
But yeah, it does. You do get a reminder every now and then when you go on these road trips that you can. I mean, it wasn't so long ago we had a Scottish road trip where we came back with nothing. So you do have to temper the expectation because it is quite possible to come away with nothing.
Yeah, because for me, I think the standard is rising year on year, and the gap is getting closer and closer and closer.
The other thing you can't ignore, I mean, we discussed it last week. The Flyers have made a fantastic start.
They have indeed. I mean, I think that's 3 wins out of 4 they've got now, and they've played 2 games against Belfast. They played us and they played Braehead. So that's impressive in anybody's book. And I must admit, I was really worried about that one being the last one of the 3 because the players are going to be tired. after playing 3 games in 3 nights, and you've got to go to Fife Ice Arena and try and get a result. That's going to be difficult, and so it proved.
Yeah, well, I think it's more than anything. I think it's a culture shock for the new guys. I mean, obviously, anybody who's played in the Elite League before knows that those triple headers exist. But anybody who's new coming into the Elite League, there's the likes of Carter and Lindhagen and even and Brown. They're not going to know that these exist. So they look at the fixtures and they go, "What the hell is that?" but yeah, I mean, it's again for 2 out of 3 wins. Yeah, great.
Mika Vietman played the game in Dundee and in Braehead. He got 2 wins, and Henry Packle was the netminder against Fife. Was that a surprise, Aaron? Because I thought, if anything, Packle may play the middle game, leaving Vietman to do the Friday and the Sunday. I
don't. I think you can look at it in many ways, can't you? I suppose, in the sense of, if Wheatman plays the first 2 games and you get 4 points, then you've got a solid 4 points. And if Packle's not a bad netminder, he's obviously very young and has a lot of potential. But maybe it was of the view of, let's get points, in the bag, and we'll see come Sunday what our options are. But so to me, no, I'd rather, if it was going to be 2-1. I'd rather, Mika played the first 2 and then, Packle play the third, because you've got 2 games for the defence to understand, and they're playing to Mika's system or how they played when he's in net, and then the third game is Packle's. If you split it, then I would hazard a guess as a defender, you might be still playing Friday's system on Saturday, and then you'll be playing Saturday's system on Sunday potentially. But yeah, I would have gone 2-1, like I said, Friday and then Saturday.
Okay. Jeff Dimon and Chris Lawrence both lead the scoring charts after the weekend. They both got a goal and 3 assists, but there was also 7 different goal scorers for the Panthers throughout the weekend, with the 8 goals that we scored. Now,
doesn't matter, we still need a sniper.
Well, this is the thing. A lot has been said about we haven't got enough goals in us. But if we're spreading the scoring throughout the squad, is that necessarily a problem?
I don't care where the goals are coming from, as long as the goals are coming, personally. I mean, Stevie Lee can be top scorer for all I care. I mean, obviously, if Stevie Lee is top scorer, then you need to be asking questions of your forwards. But I genuinely don't care where the goals are coming from, as long as they are coming.
Yeah, Aaron?
I mean, I think, you go back to kind of Steelers a couple of years ago in that Forney Fretter, war line. A lot depended on that. If that gets shut down, then, they struggled. I'd rather we had goal scorers all over the ice, to be honest. And I think that's a really, really good point. The fact of, 7 different goal scorers throughout the weekend. I think that's a fantastic stat this early on in the season, when, line mates are still getting used to each other and the systems that Corey wants them to play. Schultz didn't play some of Saturday and all of Sunday. I think that's really positive. And one thing that I would say is that going to the Clan game, Lawrence's power play goal was the Lawrence of 2 seasons ago.
Oh, it was
back at that back post, bang, one-timer in the net. If that's what we're going to see from Chris Lawrence this season, then I think we're going to see a very, very high-scoring Chris Lawrence.
Yeah, just to come back to something you said, Aaron, can we please stop breaking Stephen Schultz?
Yeah,
I'm tired of hearing the poor guy being injured for something or other. He's just not having a lot of luck.
Because he was very good in Amiens as well, and Stevie Lee, big miss, because I think he started the season really, really well in pre-season as well. So to lose those 2 players on the Sunday, that being the 3rd game out of 3, I think it makes that job even tougher, doesn't it, really, to be honest. But yeah, we need to see Stephen Schultz, fully fit, and hopefully it's just a niggle and it was more precautionary than actually, damaging potentially.
Talking of 3-in-3, there's been a lot of criticism about playing a triple header so earlier in the season. Is that something, a sort of opinion that you share, or do you think it doesn't matter when you play them? Aaron, you go first.
I think we discussed last week, didn't we? There's pros and cons. You get it out of the way nice and early. It could, it has the potential to be a great team bonding effort. At the end of the day, 3-in-3 Scottish triple headers, they seem to be what the Elite League fixture schedule is leaning towards. So I'm part of the sense of get it out of the way nice and early. Fingers crossed everybody's fit at the start of the season as well. You don't know what the injury list might be come middle of December. So, no, if 3-in-3 is going to stay and we're going to have those weekends, then I don't think it was necessarily a bad thing having that, as our first weekend, looking back on it.
Okay. Tina?
Yeah, well, 3-in-3s, they I don't think they're going anywhere. We've got the kind of schedule that they're unavoidable. I think we've got to have them to get all the games in. I think this weekend it was always probably going to be a Scottish triple because of the Marvel universe being on at the NIC all week. So there's no games. There's no way we can have a home game. I don't think it matters where they are in the fixture list. It's like I said, the new guys are going to look at the fixture list and go, "What the hell is that?" We're playing 3 games in 3 nights. Which, it doesn't. Yeah, as I say, it doesn't matter where it is on the fixture list. It's still going to be a bit of a shock for them. So yeah, get it out of the way while everybody's still finding their feet a little bit. I don't think it's of any detriment where it played in the season. To be honest, I would have liked it to have been maybe a couple of weeks away so that I could get another payday in and go. That would be my only criticism. It's just that when the fixtures were announced, I think it was like one payday between then and now. I was just like, no, I can't go. I can't justify it. It's just not going to happen. So that would be my only thing, really. Yeah,
of course, there's another triple header in Scotland in March, and then of course there's the Continental Cup, and depending on how far we go, there could be 3-on-3 weekends if we make the final. So you're looking at 5 throughout the whole season.
Well, the only thing I would say about the other Scottish triple is we've got 2 games in Edinburgh. Obviously, we've learned from the last few seasons playing Edinburgh. Don't play them in the first half of this season because that's when they're good.
What could you be suggesting?
If I have to spell it out, I think I've done something wrong, really, don't you?
At Muppets _ Edinburgh fans, if you... just have a go at her. Now, moving on. Tina, over to you.
Yes, so the Steelers were rounding off their CHL campaign this weekend. They beat Red Bull Salzburg 5-2 at home, and that saw them have their first win in the Champions Hockey League. Now, the reason I am presenting this part is because Jono was there, so Jono can tell us all about it. I was working.
As a Steelers fan, Jono?
No, I was there working. I was working for the broadcaster. I wasn't there as a fan of anyone or anything. I was working, but I got to see the game because I saw it from the penalty bench. So.
Did you have your secret Jason Hewitt Steelers shirt on underneath your work uniform?
No, I did not, and because I don't have one. Can we move on,
please? Aaron, you could get fired for such a suggestion. Anyway, right. So, yes, the Steelers have become the 3rd Elite League team to win a CHL game. It took you long enough, Steelers. What were you playing at? But do we think this is good for the league? Go on, Jono, kick us off.
Yeah, it is good for the league. Of course it is. It's... let's face it, when Panthers first went into the CHL that very first season, nobody gave us a hope. Braehead and Steelers was in it last season. Nobody gave them a hope. Nobody gave Steelers a hope this season. We've now had 3 seasons of the Champions Hockey League, and there has been a victory by an Elite League team each season. That has to be good for the league. We're now showing that we can compete at that level. Okay, we are probably a few years away from getting through to the next round, but we are competing. We are giving these sides a game. And if you look at Steelers' results, they had 1 blowout, which was actually in Salzburg, where they lost 8-1. They lost 5-3 and 5-2 to HV71, the Swedish team, and then they have that fantastic victory last night. Now, you know that I'm not the Sheffield Steelers' biggest fan. However, last night they were brilliant. They were superb. They were better team throughout, and they deserved their win. And some of the goals were absolutely fantastic. They thoroughly deserved it. And I think a situation like this, where it is a UK team playing in Europe, then yes, I'll be fully behind them getting a result because of the raising of the profile of the league as a whole.
That's yeah. I didn't think you were going to stop at that point. So you
Sorry.
caught me off guard. So no, that's fine. That's fine. I do just want to put a question to you both. Do you see the Elite League continuing with participation in the CHL? Aaron, I'll come to you first on that.
I think so, and I think obviously Steelers getting that victory will help that cause. Like Jono says, I do think we're a few years off potentially getting through to the next round. But I think if you, as Jono put it, 3 years on the trot now, a team from the Elite League has beaten and got a victory in the Champions Hockey League. So I would be disappointed if the CHL turned around and went, thanks for your participation, Elite League hockey, we're going to go with a stronger league now, because I think we've shown as a league as well that we are progressing and we're moving forward and getting better. So I would hope it stays around for the foreseeable future.
Well, there will be an Elite League team in the Champions Hockey League next season. The champions, whoever the champions of the league are, they will go through. The tournament or the competition is being reduced to 32 teams from next season from the current 48. So there will be 32 teams in groups of 4, I believe, and the top 2 from each group will then go into the round of 16. So the Elite League champions will be in there. And also, interestingly, and has been for the past couple of seasons, I think, the Continental Cup winners will also have a place in the CHL. So should the Panthers win the Continental Cup, they will get a place in the CHL next season. So I think that's something else to aim for. So a possibility of 2 UK teams in the CHL next season. So we are going to continue participating certainly next season, and I think that will probably be reviewed on a year by year basis. But they've got no reason to not include us. I mean, if you look at the French teams, which I was also covering through work, the French teams, Rouen took 2 games to overtime, so they got 2 points, but they didn't win a game, and Gap didn't manage to win a game at all. So France has 2 teams in, they didn't manage to win a game, we've got just 1. We did, and we have done every season. So surely there is a strong case for an Elite League team to continue to be in the CHL.
I agree.
Seems reasonable.
Okay, so congratulations to Sheffield on your CHL win. But of course we did it first. Right. I thought I'd get that one in. Right, we're going to move on to the other Elite League results from the weekend. On Saturday, Manchester Storm took on the Cardiff Devils in the Challenge Cup and got an excellent 4-2 victory. The Belfast Giants got revenge on the Fife Flyers for their loss in Fife last week, winning 4-2, which was also a Challenge Cup game. On Sunday, the Giants won again 3-2 against the Coventry Blaze in overtime, so a 3-on-3 overtime victory for the Giants. The Cardiff Devils with an excellent 5-1 victory over the Braehead Clan at Ice Arena, Wales. And the Edinburgh Capitals losing 8-3 at home to the Dundee Stars, which was a Challenge Cup game. A slight mix-up in that game meant that both teams had red shirts and Caps had to play with theirs inside out. Aaron, that's not really a great advertisement for the league, is it?
No, it's just so frustrating, isn't it? When I was on Twitter and I saw that, it's just, it's kind of like, for every step we take forward as a league, we always seem to have that one stumble back. We had that with the Challenge Cup semi-final draw or whatever it was when it was in a Marks and Spencer's carrier bag, and now, it's just a bit of organisation, isn't it? I think everybody understands the rules when it comes to away teams and the shirts they have to wear. It's just a little bit embarrassing, and it's a big gaffe that really shouldn't actually happen at a professional sports level.
Well, apparently the Dundee Stars don't know the rules because white jerseys. Well, they've received an award from they've received Caps Banter Army's third place ball bag of the week. So which Mark Lefever's accepted graciously.
Wow, this is the first time for everything. Moving on, the Manchester Storm beating the Cardiff Devils on Saturday, and that's a really good win for the Storm against a team who have been tipped to do very, very well in all competitions.
Yes, I mean, let's not get overexcited. It's a Challenge Cup game, and you don't need to do an awful lot to progress in the Challenge Cup, as we've discussed in the past. But that's got to be a nice moral victory, actual victory, and a bit of a stepping stone for the Manchester Storm. So hats off to you guys. Let's see what your second season brings.
And also the Giants beating Fife on Saturday, and Aaron, Giants finally getting on the board after what many considered a surprise result the Saturday previously.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously want to get that first W, as soon as possible, don't you? And no better place to do it than at home. And they ended up having a very good weekend as well. So with the OT winner in the Sky Dome, so they'd be looking, I'm sure, to use that as a springboard to this coming weekend and getting points in the Elite League. So, you can't beat a 4-point weekend, whether it's Challenge Cup, League, or both, really, can you?
Devils beating the Clan 5-1 in Elite League action, and Tina, that's a good result, but the Clan not the best of starts with 2 losses over the weekend.
No, it's kind of head in hands moments for the Clan fans at the moment. They're not having a good time of it, really. I mean, I've not seen any highlights or anything. I've been away all weekend, so I've not. I was lucky enough to catch the Fife webcast, to be honest. But
go on, explain how you did that.
Well, it was a really long and complicated process because I have an issue with my PayPal account which I can't be bothered to resolve. So I had to use somebody else's PayPal account to pay for the game, and I had to watch it on my iPhone while I was cooking burgers in the middle of a field at a folk festival. so there was, it was interesting. It was fun, but I had the best 4G signal. It was great. It was amazing. I had better 4G signal there than I do, and then I get data from my home broadband sometimes. It was brilliant. But yes, from what I was sort of reading afterwards, I was catching up on Twitter and what have you, it sounded like the Devils dominated that game, and the Clan just could not cope with them. They didn't have a response, or it's definitely, this week is a definite, let's get back to the drawing board and figure out what the hell to do this weekend to get some wins on.
Okay. Before we move on to look at what we've got coming up for the rest of the week, just say that Panthers have just tweeted they have got an exclusive interview with Brian McGrattan on their website. So once we finished, and not before, head over to the Panthers website to have a look at that interview. We're almost done for tonight, so thank you everyone for joining us. We will be live, as I say, 3 times a week. Mondays are generally going to be a look back at what's happened over the previous weekend. Thursdays we'll be looking ahead to the games the next weekend, but on Wednesdays, and on our next show on Wednesday, will be the return of the Ask TCW podcast. So just to say, if you want to send questions in, you can do it via Twitter at CatsWhiskers TV. Use the hashtag AskTCW. Also, Facebook will post something on the two main fan groups on there. So the Panthers layer, the GMB Panthers group, and also the Panthers fan club group. So you can post your questions on Facebook. We've got a dedicated thread on the Cage forum, so you could post your questions on there. Or, as some of you do, you could send your questions via email. It's tcwonlinetv@gmail.com. I'm delighted to say that Aaron will be hosting the Ask TCW podcast once again. So, Aaron, looking forward to it. Webcast? Yeah, blimey. Yeah. I'm really getting ahead of myself now, aren't I?
Webcast Panthers, no.
Yeah, good point.
Yes, I am looking forward to it. I think we'll all agree it was exciting last season when we did it. I think the fact that we'll be live hopefully will mean that we get even more interaction. Really want to see people tweeting us as the show goes out live and reacting to what we're saying. So it won't be a podcast, it won't be a live podcast without the actual listeners and people getting involved. So get your questions in early, and then listen, and we'll see what we get in. So I'm really looking forward to it, and hopefully everybody else is too.
And then, of course, on Thursday we will be looking ahead to the games at the weekend, which are this weekend against the Cardiff Devils at home on Saturday, and away to the Sheffield Steelers on Sunday in the Challenge Cup. Also, one other thing to point out, and I know we're going out live, so this is going to seem a bit daft to those listening live, but for those listening on playback, you can listen to any of the podcasts again. So they will be broadcast live, and then they will be available to download once the live show has finished. So the best way to do that is, if you've got an iTunes account, subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. So go to iTunes, search for The Cat's Whiskers, and subscribe to the podcast that way. It will also be available on Spreaker, on RSS, and it's also available to stream on the Cat's Whiskers website, which is www.thecatswhiskersonline.co.uk. Right, I think that's about it for this first live show of the week. So it only remains to say thank you very much to Tina Taylor,
TTFN,
and also to Aaron Lord.
Absolute pleasure. See you Wednesday.
And thanks very much to you for listening. As we said, we'll be back on Wednesday, 8:45pm, live with the Ask TCW podcast. But until then, thank you once again for listening, and we'll see you then. Goodbye.